I'm back. Hey y'all, hey. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Mission for Mental Health. I'm your host, Jackie Robinson, and I am so excited to be back. I don't know why it took me so long. I guess because I was creating all these little plans and I wanted to do it like this and do it like that. But sometimes when God says move, you got to move. So I did a video a while back and I was telling you guys, hey, I'm relaunching on October the 18th. And I'm still doing that show. That show hasn't gone anywhere or anything like that. But look, God spoke to me, was like, little girl. I gave you an assignment, and I'm gonna need you to pick up your assignment. So I did. And so we are launching early, and I hope you guys don't mind, but we launching early. I try to let you guys know as much as possible. Like, I'm so nervous. I'm in here sweating, y'all. I'm in here sweating under these lights. Whew. So anyway, so I have a great guest for you all this evening. It was divine order for us to meet. And I'm so glad that we did. And we met via one of my sorority sisters. So thank you so much, my sorority sister, for this. And so I'm going to bring her on. Y'all, we're going to talk about sickle cell today. Yeah, I haven't done this before. I ain't did this topic before, but we're going to talk about it today. So I'm excited. I'm going to bring on my guest, Keecilon, and you guys are going to love her. She's so cute. Wait, hold on. Let me get her. She cute, yeah. She got her red on. She told me red is for sickle cell awareness. So I had to red lips, y'all. Hold on. Here she comes. Hold on. You ready? Bam. There she goes. See, I told you. Ain't she cute? Y'all, look at her. Ain't she cute? Yes. So I am so excited. Welcome, Keecilon. I'm so glad that you said yes to come on my show. How are you this evening?
I am doing lovely. Thank you so much for asking.
Good. So I was telling our viewers how we met, and how we met is like kind of weird, kind of strange, right? Because my sorority sister reached out to you, but reached out to you for something else, and then reached out for me and said, hey, this is somebody I think that you should meet. And we connected, and it's just been on. And like, your story is the bomb. Your story is the bomb. I can't wait for everyone to hear it. And I see that my sorority sister is on, so I'm happy that she's on too. So, can you give a shout out to my mom, Aday? Absolutely. Hey, Aday. We love Aday up here in this house. Aday is the one who comes over and takes care of my mommy's hands and feet. So yes, we love Aday. Absolutely. And I missed you too, Leilani. I missed you guys too. And good evening, Karen. Good evening, Karen. So we are already getting these comments going. I like to go through comments as the show goes on. So how are you, darling?
I am doing great. Fabulous.
You
How
have a
are
good
you?
day today?
What
Did
did
you
you
have a good
say?
day today? You had a good day today?
Yes,
Busy
I
day?
had a very good day today.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
busy day.
Yeah,
Busy,
that's
busy
any
day.
day that's a busy day is a good day.
Yes, it
That
is.
means that means God been using you all day.
The whole entire month.
All right, all right. So I'm gonna get started, you guys. I'm gonna read her bio to you all. You all are going to be very impressed. Are you ready? Here we go. Okay, Keecilon, and it's so funny because they sent me the phonetics on how to spell her, how to pronounce her name, Keecilon. So right, she was born at Grady. She's a Grady baby, y'all. Look, I'm sweating so much from fogging up the glasses. Hers a Grady baby, y'all. So that means she is really from Atlanta. I know that song that they say, if you live over here, that ain't Atlanta. If you live over here, that ain't Atlanta. Well, this girl was born at Grady, so she's from Atlanta. And she has a twin brother. She has a twin brother. I also have some twins. I got a boy and girl twins too. She has a twin brother, a teenage son, and a preschooler niece. She was raised in good old Decatur, Georgia. Decatur, where it's greater, with her parents. Her mother passed away when she was 11 years old from complications of sickle cell disease. Her father is still living, working and helping people in the community. This is a community family, y'all. She is an educator at heart, a mentor, a sickle cell warrior, and an advocate for sickle cell. She attended Southwest DeKalb High School, Tennessee State University as an undergraduate, studying biochemistry. She was a biochemistry major, and Kennesaw State as a graduate, teaching English to speakers of other languages. Unfortunately, the warrior, she's calling herself the warrior, y'all, had to cease her educational endeavors for a short period of time due to battling ailments. After her recovery, she earned her bachelor's of journalism from Georgia State University in 2007, a master's of curriculum and instruction from Central Michigan University in 2015. Most of all, in her free time, she enjoys running, hiking on trails, with and she loves the scenic views and loves nature, y'all. Photography, dancing, so she's shaking her tail feather and all that good stuff, and fashion styling. As you see, she has on her red and black beads in earrings this evening because red represents sickle cell. Lastly, she serves as a community health worker and transition specialist for the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia. She helps people of all ages living with sickle cell get access to care, resources, and support for managing a chronic disease. She loves helping others with an open heart while educating them on the importance of health and wellness and how to manage a life living well with sickle cell. And that is what I titled the show this evening, Living Well with Sickle Cell. Welcome, you guys. Welcome, Miss Wright, to my show. Y'all give her some hand claps if you can in the chat. She would appreciate it, and so would I. You said, what you doing? I'm putting my iPad away because I don't need it no more. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. So let's just jump into it. Let's jump into it. When we were talking the other day, you had so many just branches of stories that you can tell and experiences in your life. But I always start off with this. This is a show about mental health. How did sickle cell enter your life?
I was born with sickle cell disease. That's how it entered my life. Sickle cell disease is a chronic illness. It is inherited. It is a genetic disease.
So, can you tell us, for people who aren't familiar, we hear about people having the sickle cell trait, and then we hear about people having the sickle cell disease. So, what is the difference between the two?
So the sickle cell trait is when you have one normal gene from one parent, and then you have one sickle gene from the other parent. That is the sickle cell trait. Whereas sickle cell disease, You have one sickle gene from one parent and another sickle gene from one parent. And that's how
Wow.
you get sickle cell disease.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So we already have some comment. I'm so excited to hear your story. Thank you for taking time to bring awareness to sickle cell because this is a topic that, um, as Black folks, you know, I guess it's mostly prevalent in our community. And so we hear about it and we get tested for it or whatever when we have kids and things like that. And but we just really don't know. Like the most I know about it is T-balls. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but I do remember hearing, because I grew up in the 90s with TLC and how sometimes she would go through these times where she's hospitalized because she's in a lot of pain and things like that. So having sickle cell disease, how did that impact your life?
Sickle cell disease impacted my life in many ways. I had a mother that had sickle cell disease. Her sickle cell disease type was SS. I also had an uncle, which was her brother, that had sickle cell disease as well, and his sickle cell disease type was SS. And I have sickle cell disease, and my type is SC.
So what is
So
the SS?
so SS, a lot of people consider that the severe one, and
Okay.
SC as the mild one. But keep in mind, I don't try to categorize the diseases because someone with SC can have the same complications that people that have sickle cell disease SS, and some people with SS may not have many complications like
Wow.
people with SC. So I don't try to put them in the same box. Everybody living with sickle cell disease, their story is different. Sickle
Right.
cell disease affects everyone differently, and that's the
Right.
key that everyone needs to know. So when I'm speaking with people about sickle cell disease, I don't say, hey, SS is the severe one or SC is the mild version. It depends on what type of sickle cell you have and
Right.
how it affects your body.
Right. So growing up with your mom and she had sickle cell disease SS type, the more severe type, what was that like growing up? Was she always in the hospital or, like how did that work?
Yeah, it um it was very hard. I was traumatized a lot because my mom lived majority of her days in the hospital. She would stay in the hospital, for days, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months, and wondering when she's coming back home.
Right.
She would have a lot of chronic pain, and what chronic pain is, someone that's living with sickle cell disease, they have chronic pain every day or at least 15 to 20 days out of the month. Whereas acute pain, which I have, you don't have it like 15 or 20 days out of the month. You may have it like for 3 or 4 days or a week. It
Mhm.
comes and go. So it's a difference between chronic and acute pain. My mom spent a lot of time in the hospital, and a lot of time when she was in the hospital she did not get the care that she needed, because back in
Mm.
the 1980s and 1990s, medicine was totally different. There wasn't enough research about sickle cell disease, and I
Right.
know she was doing studies to help with sickle cell disease. A
Okay.
lot of times when she was in the hospital, I didn't call her because I was young, I was a kid, and I was pretty much afraid, and I wanted my mama home with me
Right.
to like go shopping, to sit down, watch our movies together, and do our thing and talk, and cook her favorite meals. So that's why I don't really try to go to the hospital now a lot, because of what I experienced with my mom living majority of her life in the hospital.
So she was there because of the pain or was it because of something else for pain management or something else?
She was there for pain management, and whenever her hemoglobin level dropped, she had to get transfusions, but
Blood
also
transfusions.
transfusion. Also, she had dialysis, so she had kidney problems. So that affected her body a lot as well. Sickle cell disease affects people body with dialysis. A lot of times she would have to go to dialysis back and forth. We lived in Decatur, and my dad would have to drive all the way to East Ponce de Leon so she can get her dialysis treatment. And sometimes when she was in the hospital, she would get what she needed at the hospital. And whereas the transfusions, they had to give her blood to boost her hemoglobin levels back up so she can have the energy to just walk. She also had issues with walking. She had to have a cane. She had a lot of hip pain. She had a lot of pain all throughout her body. A lot of time I couldn't really see the pain because she was really good at hiding her
Hiding
pain.
it.
Yeah, just like I'm good at hiding my pain to a certain
That's
extent.
what we do.
Yes.
That's
So
what we do. Wow. And you have a twin brother.
yes, I have a twin brother. He has the sickle cell trait, which is AS. He's doing good. And my niece, she has the sickle cell trait, which is AS as well. And then
Okay.
my teenager, he has the hemoglobin C trait, which is AC.
So so everyone after you has the trait. So your brother
Yes,
has the trait, your niece has the trait, your son has the trait, but you have the disease.
yes, I'm the only
Okay.
survivor one in my family. Yes,
Okay. You're the only surviving one with the disease in your family.
yes.
Okay. And so your teenage son, so let me ask you this. When you decided to have a baby, did you have concerns or were you worried or how do you what's going through your mind when you get pregnant and you know that you have sickle cell disease, your mom passed away from sickle cell disease, your uncle passed away from sickle cell disease, I'm the only one left in the family living with sickle cell disease. What's in your head during your pregnancy, or is it even a concern?
It wasn't a concern for me. And the reason why, when I was growing up, I had a friend of the family that would always tell me, "You can't have kids. You can't have kids." Like hearing that all the time really, really affected me a lot. It like made me feel like not a part of having a kid, and I just love kids. Period. So hearing that a lot kind of mess with you psychologically.
Right.
So me hearing that, oh, you shouldn't have kids. You got sickle cell disease. If you have a kid, you're going to die too. You're not going to be on this earth as long as your mother was. And so I decided that I didn't want to be like that. I said, I want a child. I love kids. I love them to death. So I did not care, and I felt like God has me here for a reason to do a
Yeah.
purpose. And if He wants me to have a child, I'm going to have a child. Had my Was pregnant. We did genetic testing. We already knew that he would have hemoglobin C trait because when you're pregnant, they can do genetic testing. I also knew his father's genotype, so I already knew he wasn't going to have sickle cell disease. I
Right.
knew that he would either have sickle cell trait, which is a S, or hemoglobin C trait, a C, and he has a
Mhm.
C. So I was, relieved and happy. So that part, I was good mentally. It was just the part before getting over
Right.
that.
Right.
So I use that as my testimony because a lot of times people that have sickle cell disease are always told you don't need to have kids.
Right.
But what if kids is in the cards for you and you want it?
Right.
That
Because
way
what do
you
you tell your spouse? Like, well, yes, I can get pregnant, but I'm just not gonna have any kids because I got this sickle cell disease. So I don't know what to tell you, but bruh.
Well, that's why it's very important that before people decide to mate together, they need to be asking whoever they're dating, hey, what is your genotype? And if they choose to disclose whether they have sickle cell disease or not, they have to use their own discretion. But that's one thing you do need to know. You need to know your partner's genotype, how they actually feel about being someone with someone that has sickle cell disease,
Right.
because they may not want to be with somebody that have sickle cell disease, because sickle cell disease experience is different for everyone. And if you don't know what sickle cell disease, how are you going to be able to cope with a mate that has it?
Right.
You're
So
not
let's
going to
talk
be able
about it.
to.
So let's talk about your mate.
Oh gosh. So when my mate found out that I had sickle cell disease, in the beginning, he seemed like he was okay with it. He was fine. But as time progressed when we were married and when I was pregnant and after having a baby, I could really tell that he was disrespecting me with my health because I would never forget when I was in the room giving labor, he actually kind of like doubted me that I couldn't push the baby out because my baby was so big. So he asked the doctors, you think she gonna be able to push that baby out? Because she ain't strong. She ain't strong. And I'm like, he don't know me. I am strong. Like I'm strong. Like I'm the rock. And
I'm
so
strong, boo. It's just your child's head is big like yours, bruh.
yeah. So right there, it left a lot of ill feelings when he did that. And then also just being in a household with someone, when I did have the times that I got sick or whatever, I
Mhm.
didn't feel like he was really, really there for me. Like he would tell people, that I was sick, and certain people that he knew, they would say, "Oh, she's sickly, da da da, this and that," and it was just,
Sickly.
yes. And I do not like to be called sickly.
Sickly.
Anybody that's living with sickle cell disease does not like to be called sicklers or sickly at all.
Right.
So, with him saying that, it kind of left a lot of insecurities in our marriage. I didn't feel, safe. And when you're in a marriage, you want to feel safe and you want to feel protected and you want your partner to believe in you. So that's how it kind of deterred the relationship a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So how does that affect you mentally? Like, how does that affect your mental health? Especially
Um,
with knowing how this relationship turned. What about like the future ones? How does that affect your mental health? Does it make you insecure? And like, I don't know if I want to jump in a relationship with anybody else because they may, you know, treat me like I'm sickly, or you know what I'm saying? And just not really understand or be supportive in, I've heard it even about women who have Crohn's disease, how much pain that they can be in, acute pain that they can, get in, and their spouse is not understanding it. Like they don't get it. So
yeah,
how
that's
does that affect you mentally and moving forward in future relationships?
well. Currently, it does not affect me. I'm very confident about who I am and whoever I'm with. I'm open and I'm honest, and I tell them, hey, I have sickle cell disease. This is what it's going to look like, and if you want to be in my life, you can stay in my life. If that, you can get to moving. So that right now doesn't affect my relationship life. Even during the times when my ex would make certain comments or whatever, I did feel very insecure a little bit, but it wasn't that I felt insecure like all the time where my self-esteem was just low. I have very, very high self-esteem. It's just that it taught me what to look for in my next mate that I will marry. It taught me that I
Right.
need to look for someone who's going to believe in me, who's going to stick by my side, who's going to encourage me and not put me down.
Right. Have you noticed at all that your teenage son feels like a little nervous or scared or worried or anything like that
Of course,
when?
of course. He pretty much knows me well. He knows when I'm not feeling well because I'm not talking and I get kind of moody when I'm not feeling good and when I'm very fatigued and not getting enough sleep. He was like, oh, okay, she in one of the moods. She in pain. And what he does, he be like, Mommy, you okay? And I'd be like, no. He'd be like, well, what can I do? And so a lot of times he would try to accommodate me. So he would try to like rub my feet when
Mhm.
I have, pain in my feet. He would try to rub my legs when I have, pain in my legs. Even he'll be like, Mama, you haven't ate today. Do you want me to cook you something? So he's like a light for me. I know he's scared sometimes when I'm not
Right.
feeling good, but I have raised him to know that these are the things that you do just in case if anything was to happen to mom.
Correct.
And by me teaching him that, I kind of think that it helped him a lot with learning about my condition because he asked questions like, "Okay, mommy, I have sickle cell, hemoglobic C trait. So what exactly is that?
Right.
Will I get too cold?" And I tell him, you get cold, but your symptoms are totally, different from me. And he was like, well, what is it with your sickle cell? How does it affect you? And I tell him how it affects me. So he knows
Right.
that I can't be really, really cold at all. And we fight a lot because he likes to have the AC
AC
blasting.
on. Uh-huh.
And he's telling me he's hot. And I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you gotta turn the AC. You
Right.
can't be turning up. You're gonna make me get in a crisis. So it was just like going through that battle, and
Right.
he knows how to go get my heating pad. He knows exactly what to do. So
That's good.
that helps a lot. He's not as worried because I talk with him. And I think when you're talking with your kids, if you having sickle cell disease and you just being open and honest with them, who to call when you need help, that goes a long way instead of not communicating with them. And growing up, my dad didn't communicate with me a lot about my mom's sickle cell disease. Even like as I got older, I would ask him questions like, hey, the doctor said that this is going on with me. Okay, dad, did mom have that? And it's like, I know that was his love of his life, but I felt that
Oh,
him talking about sickle cell disease, it was very
yeah.
difficult and hard for him because he didn't want to relive the experiences as well. So I had to actually ended up calling my relatives on my mother's side and asking questions. They were able to give me a lot of answers that I was missing. So
Right.
knowing your family history and just talking about sickle cell disease brings more awareness and more education because in the Black community, we don't talk about sickle cell
We
a
sure
lot.
don't. That's
Like
why that's why I was
secret.
happy that you wanted to be on because we don't have a lot of education about this. Like I said, we hear about it and then we think like just like how, people were this young person was telling you, we're thinking, "Oh my gosh, people who have sickle cell, maybe they shouldn't have kids because they're going to pass that on to their kids and they ain't going to be, we just don't know. This and our community is very hush hush when it comes to certain things. One thing we don't talk about, we won't talk about their blood pressure. You
Sure
know what I'm
don't.
saying? It's just stuff we don't talk about. Like we don't talk about their sugar, the diabetes. We just kind of just push stuff aside and we just deal with it. We just deal with the card that's dealt, but we definitely are not good at communicating, especially something that can be passed down to our children. We all got to know about how to work through this thing, right?
Yes, I
Yeah.
definitely agree. But the only time that I was really depressed, like in and out of my life, is when I had to like sit out a semester for college.
Right.
Or maybe it took me, I think maybe a year and a half or 2 years to finish college. So I did go through a depression state during at that time because I wasn't able to graduate with my friends.
Right.
But eventually, I got over it. It's like as long as I finish school, that is what matters. Um, every now and then, as I'm older, depression does seek in, especially when I'm overwhelmed, like
Absolutely.
taking care of other people and not doing enough for me. And so
Right.
that I try to do more self-care for me, and by me like talking with people that have sickle cell disease, I love it, but a lot of time it can be very mind-boggling and very overwhelming for me that I have to really regroup myself and make
Right.
sure that my spirit is not getting so low because it can. And then sometimes when I'm very fatigued, I do get at times where I'm sad because I'm just like, why am I fatigued? Like I'm eating right. I'm like, what's going on? I'm staying
Mhm.
hydrated. I'm drinking my chlorophyll water. And I was like, but living with sickle cell disease, you have those times where you're depressed and when you're not depressed. But majority of the time I'm high energetic. It's just sometimes when it gets really, really hard navigating being a mother, navigating having a teenager and work
Right.
life, that
Right.
could be stress in itself.
That's
And that could
that's
just
stress for somebody who don't have sickle cell.
yeah, and that can bring on depression instantly, not
Right.
even knowing it. So,
Right. So let me ask you this about I read in your bio that you started school, started college, and you were a biology major, I believe it was
biochemistry.
biochemistry, and then you stopped, and then you went back, and then you got your degree,
Yes.
and then you were teaching.
Yes.
So what happened with teaching to where we got to where we are now?
Oh gosh.
What happened here?
Oh, okay. So, COVID. After that second year of COVID, when we had to go back in the school system, and for the school district that I was teaching for at the time, it was like a no mask mandate. And at the time, I was not vaccinated. And I was already mentally drained. And so I was just like, this is not enough for me. I was getting, even though I love the kids and I love teaching, but I wasn't being challenged enough. And I was just like, this just can't just be it to teaching, because when you're teaching, it's all cookie cutter. And I'm the type of person, I like to cater to everybody different learning styles, different talents to bring out how they can learn. And
Right.
when you're teaching, a lot of times you can't do that. You have to be structured. And I felt like I was being kept back. Like I wasn't using like my gifts. And I was just like, okay, I know it's more to this than me doing this. And also at the same time, I had got diagnosed with an autoimmune deficiency. So on top of that, with the sickle cell. And so I had to just really, really have a come to Jesus talk with myself and, speaking with my doctor and stuff. And, it was the hardest decision that I had to make, because I was like, okay, I love my breaks. I love being out in the summer. I
Yeah.
love being out the same time my son is out of school. And I'm like, I love the kids, I love just people, period. But at the same time, I knew I was missing something, and it's like I wasn't being
Your
fulfilled.
spirit wasn't being fed.
Yes, yes. So I went on an intermittent fast, and I just prayed, and I was like, Lord, what am I gonna do? I was like, am I supposed to resign? I just put it all out on the table. I was boohoo crying. It was like one of the best fasts I had did. I would do prayer call with one of my friends that lives in Maryland, and I just made my request known, and I asked the Father to give me signs, and He did. And when I got my answer, I resigned, and when I
Mm,
resigned, I felt a lot of peace. It was like a weight came down, and I was just like set free. I
yes.
did get a lot of backlash from some of my relatives. Like, girl, what is
I
wrong with
know
you?
we
You
don't quit
having a
no we
nervous?
don't quit no good job.
Yeah, you having a nervous breakdown. What is wrong with you?
Good
People just
job.
don't quit. People just don't quit their jobs. Da, 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 da. And I was like, I got this. I got this, because the Lord was already giving me signs that year. I had already started packing up stuff, taking stuff home.
Yes.
So it was already starting. It's just that I had to come to grips with it and believe it.
Right.
And when I did it, it was the best decision that I did, because so many doors opened up. I started to journal, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? And I was just talking with my girlfriend about it. And so I was like, you know what? I want to volunteer. So I was still putting in applications. Like I had maybe put over 35 applications. Wasn't getting callbacks
Right.
for months. And my silly butt was still putting in positions for teaching in different counties. I was just like, maybe I just need to go to a different county and just
Right.
see how they do.
Yeah.
So I said I wanted to volunteer for the Sickle Cell Foundation in Georgia. So I was on their website, browsing. And the Lord just led me to careers. So I clicked on the jobs, and let it behold, the job that was on there, I was like, oh my goodness, this is just so me. It had like working with children, and working with like helping people in the community. It was just everything that I needed that I could still do and use my gifts. It had like me teaching. It was about goals. It was about
Mm,
health, living well with sickle cell, and
yeah,
mentoring. That's all the things that I love to do. So
right.
I applied. And when I applied, I did get a phone call. And the first interview went really well. Then I got a second interview, and it went really well. And the executive director of the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia was like, I don't normally do this. I normally don't hire people within 2 weeks. Da, 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 da. She's like, you're different, and I love you. So I was maybe out of work for maybe 2.5, 3 months, and then I was working. So I
Yeah,
never got the opportunity to actually volunteer with the Sickle Cell Foundation. I actually got the opportunity to get a job
you
with
got
them
a
to do
job.
what I like to do. Yes. And
You
I've
got a
been
whole job.
yes, and I've been
Won't
there
you do it?
every since. So
Won't
I
you
was just
do it?
like, I said, that's when you really like step out on faith and
Yes,
you really listen. And when you listen to what he has to say, you don't have anything to worry about it because got the job. The salary was pretty cool. And then with me not even being there within a year, I got another raise. And so I was just like, thank you, Father. That doesn't happen at all. At all.
that's amazing. That's amazing. Now look, y'all watching. Don't be quitting your job tomorrow. You heard what she
Now
took
you
before she quit that job. She fasted. She prayed first. Don't be
yep.
going in there talking about I ain't coming back. You see that little cat meme with that car. Don't be rolling up talking about I quit my job. This how I roll up when I quit my job.
Yeah.
Don't
It was
quit your
times that
job.
I got
That's
sad
a
when
blessing though,
yeah,
I mean, it's a blessing. And I guess that's why God wouldn't allow you to get another teaching job, being that you quit your teaching job and he had a plan for you. And this is probably the best position that you could ever ask for.
yes, it is. It is.
Yeah. And then you also do some public speaking.
Yes, I've been doing a lot of speaker engagements lately. I just had the opportunity with speaking with Georgia Tech students, juniors and seniors on
Mhm.
yesterday. That experience was it was exhilarating for me. They were very attentive, listening. They asked like a whole bunch of questions, which I really love because I'm a very inquisitive person. So
Right.
I was like, yeah, they answered great questions. So it was a good experience for them and also the professor because a lot of times with sickle cell disease in colleges, a lot of people are not familiar with it,
Correct.
even though it is a part of the science area. But particularly, this class was about racism and sickle cell disease and how racism exists in the medical field, especially with sickle cell disease. And I love the fact that the professor is allowing them to read a book about racism within the medical with sickle cell disease because it's allowing them to learn more about health inequalities that existed and that are not going
Mhm.
away until there is a change, and we need a change, especially here in Georgia.
I just imagine.
Yes,
I could just imagine what people go through trying to get health care and they have sickle cell disease. I can only imagine. Don't mess around and don't have no insurance. Mm.
if you try to go somewhere here in Georgia living with sickle cell disease without insurance, they will turn you away unless
Mm.
you go to Grady. If you go to Grady, you have to either live in Fulton County or DeKalb County to get like
Oh,
their special program that they have.
so none of the other counties have these programs?
No, mm-mm, no. Even if you try to go to Piedmont, what is it, Northside, what are the other hospitals? Piedmont, Northside,
Emory.
Emory, yes. They don't have special
Mhm.
programs for people with sickle cell disease. They may have a financial program that they do, according to the billing, but for people that live in Fulton County, DeKalb, Grady, 24-hour comprehensive sickle cell center, they service those people, and the care
Well,
that they
it's a
get,
blessing
they
for them. It's a
hmm
blessing for them, but it's unfortunate for those that live in Gwinnett, Cobb, Clayton, Douglas. We all over the place. You know what I'm saying? We have
yeah,
all moved into this black mecca.
yeah.
Wow,
So
I had
they
no idea.
don't have insurance. They can find a hematologist that is willing for them to pay out of pocket. But a lot of people with sickle cell disease are not working because a lot of them are on disability.
Yeah, because they're in
So,
pain.
yep.
How much FMLA is a job willing to let you take when you're going through all that, you know?
No, I'm
Jeez.
not sure,
Yeah,
but I do know a lot of people with sickle cell disease. Um, they get turned away. They lose their jobs because a lot of employers be like, "Oh, you're missing so many days," even though they are aware that they have sickle cell disease,
right.
but they still let them go. Even for caregivers of people with sickle cell disease, caregivers lose their job as well because a lot of times when they have loved ones in a hospital from a pain crisis, they are missing from work and they lose their jobs. So that is
I didn't
very
even think about that.
difficult to try to sustain a household when you don't have anybody that really cares for you and want to help you. So
Right.
what I do, I try to help them find jobs that accommodate people with disability, and like Goodwill is one of them. So I was able to get some of my people that have sickle cell on with Goodwill, and it's been like one of the best things for them. So when I'm talking with them, I make sure that they try to find jobs that they can be able to sustain, meaning not having a job at a warehouse or anything, but having like either a desk job, stuff that's not too much on their
Work from
body.
home.
Work from
Pandemic, a lot of people do a lot of work from home. We had a question. Do you have to take any pain medications for pain, or do you do any type of pain therapy?
Me personally, I do not take any medications at all. I do not.
Whoa.
I am very holistic, and that's been like that since I was about in my early 20s. Um, I love being holistic. I don't try to approach the holistic perspective on everyone because sickle cell disease affects everyone differently. Some people need their pain medication. The reason why I choose not to do pain medications because what my mom went through. Like my mom was on heavy narcotics. My uncle was on heavy narcotics. And seeing them on the narcotics and seeing that it wasn't working and they were still in a lot of pain, I was like, woo. Mm-mm. And then having heavy narcotics in your system, it creates organ damages.
Mm.
And
Probably some dependency too.
yes. And I didn't want that. So I'm all about going back to the roots because you got to think about it. Back in the days when medicine wasn't developed, how did people heal their bodies? They heal
So
their
how did
bodies
you
with
learn?
pain.
How did you learn what holistic treatment works for you? Just trial and error, or how did you
Research.
how you know?
Research.
Girl, I got a
I,
toothache. You got something for me that I can, slab on there a little bit? No, I'm kidding.
uh, I love to read. I love to do research. So I started, trying out different things. So I do acupuncture. I just started doing acupuncture last year. And acupuncture, it does from your head all the way to your toe. And it really tunes your body back into place. It is like the best thing ever. And when I do my acupuncture, the lady, she can tell when I'm not sleeping well. And so she'd be like, girl, your back is red. You ain't been sleeping well. What's going on? And so,
Your back is
I'm honest.
red.
My back is red. Yes. So when I go to get my acupuncture done, she does a method where she uses needles, but she also uses medicine incense, and so she put it, on my back, on my feet, throughout my whole entire body. And wherever on your body it lights up red, based on which area it is in, she can tell you exactly what's going on with your body.
Wow.
She does
Wow.
a complete health assessment before. And then once she see the redness, she knows exactly. So when my back turned red, that area was lack of sleep. And she asked me, she was like, "You haven't been sleeping, have you?" And I was like, "How you know that?" She's like, "Girl, this back is just fiery red." And so she was like, "What's going on?" So I told her what was going on. It's like when I go to acupuncture, it's like another talk session for me because I'm the person that does not relax at all when I'm doing
Right.
holistic care. I talk
Yeah.
the whole way through. I can't help it, but it's my self care. So I do that, and I also do massage therapy. So the massage therapy that helps with circulate my blood because I have a
Yes.
lot of pain in my legs, in both of my legs.
Yeah, and you said your
Majority,
feet too.
yes,
Mhm.
majority of the time when I am having my menstrual period, it's my right leg, and it locks up. The pain is on, I 8 sometimes, but I ease through the pain. But I notice when I steadily go to get my massages, I can tell my blood circulates much, much better. I sleep well. And then I also get chiropractic adjustments. So it knocks my back in place, my hips, and everything else that needs to be back in place because my neck be stiff and she just put it right back in place. So those treatments has really, really been helping me, but also eating right
Yeah, I was
helped
gonna
me.
ask you, well, what about like your diet? And do you have to do a special diet?
Yes, I do a special diet.
So ain't no
So
Popeyes, ain't no Popeyes in the diet,
every
none.
day I did, I will
Oh,
get
okay.
Popeyes when I crave for
A little
it.
hot sauce and honey on the ghost wing
Oh no,
chicken.
no, 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 no hot sauce, no ma'am, no. I like the blackened ranch with the little fried nuggets from
Okay.
Popeyes.
Because we all have to have a little grease in our life. We all have to have a little greasy chicken in our life somewhere.
Yeah,
I'm just
every
saying.
now, yes, every now and then I do the greasy stuff, but I have to stay away from it too because it's really really bad on my stomach, and I don't do well with that. But yes, so I eat very very healthy. So I do a lot of rainbow trout. I do a lot of salmon. I do a lot of flounder, and I do hormone free chicken. I don't do any beef, any pork, but
Mhm.
I do a lot of green leafy vegetables. Like I'll saute like spinach, kale together, sometimes mustard greens together, and Worcestershire sauce with garlic, different bell peppers. I love to cook, so I be in the kitchen making my own recipes up.
Right.
And me eating like that has helped a lot with making sure that I get my B vitamins, I get my folic acid from my greens and my
Right.
spinach.
Look, while we over here popping a folic acid pill, because I take the pill.
Yeah, so I do that, and juice, fresh
Ah,
juice.
uh-huh.
I put chlorophyll in my water throughout the
Yeah.
whole entire day. The chlorophyll helps boost your red blood cell. It also helps with acne, and it's also a natural detoxifier that a lot of people don't realize. So a lot of times when I drink my wine, because I love wine, I would do my chlorophyll right behind it so I won't get dehydrated because I know when people live with sickle cell disease, if you get dehydrated, you're gonna have a crisis.
Y'all,
And
y'all
I'm not
heard that,
trying
right? Those y'all that like that sip of honey jack. Oh, I'm talking about myself. My bad. We need a little chlorophyll. We need a little quit drinking that Gatorade. We need a little chlorophyll in our life after that. That little IV water. We don't need that. We just need some chlorophyll. But a lot of people were drinking chlorophyll during the pandemic.
that was really
That's when I
good.
first started hearing about it during the pandemic. People were like, "Well, you know how us black folks are. We come up with a remedy for anything. You drink that chlorophyll. Y'all need that shot, honey. You drink that chlorophyll. That's gonna get rid of that COVID. All you need is some Vicks and some chlorophyll, and you'll be good. You know about no COVID.
But that
You
cord,
know how
that
we
cord,
roll.
it
You know how
works
we roll.
wonders. It works wonders, though. I mean, it would
Chlorophyll.
clean your whole insides out, but it's a natural detoxer. You have a nice odor, like a good odor.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So I
yeah,
had another question. Do you remember the name of the book? She was saying that the students were reading a book in class. Do you remember the name of the book that the teacher has the professor has the students reading?
I know the author is called Troy Duster. Um, I have to look at my phone. It is called, I know the author is called Troy Duster. That I do remember the name of the book. But it's so many books that's out there talking about sickle cell and racism. Actually, the one that she actually introduced to me yesterday, I think that's actually a better one than the one that she's doing her for her class. It is called Dying in the City of the Blues, Sickle Cell Anemia and the Politics of Race and Health. And that's by Keith Walu. Now that's the book that I am going to get because
Wait, Lou.
yes, Keith Walu. W A
WAY.
L O O. Yeah, now that one hit home. It caught my eye more than the one that she is teaching to her class. Now, the book that she's doing with her class, it's just a small snippet of sickle cell disease and racism because it talks about other chronic diseases and how racism exists. And so that's why I would recommend more of the Keith Walu.
Keith Wayloo.
But if
Um,
someone want to look it up, I can't remember the name of the title. I just remember the author because it was just like Troy Duster, and I'm like, okay, that's a weird name, and that's it just stuck with me.
Let me throw his name up here right quick just in case somebody wants to get it. And I put it in the chat, you guys, so you can go back and look if you need to. This was very, very informative. I was I was ignorant to sickle cell disease and I didn't know much about it. I still need to learn more, of course. I mean, you just can't get it all in an hour, but it does give you an insight as to what people go through with sickle cell trait and sickle cell disease. They are different, y'all. They are not the same.
Yes, yes,
And people can live with the disease and people can live with the trait. We got one more question. Hold on. Does the Sickle Cell Foundation of Georgia offer any testing? And if so, can organizations reach out to get testing for members?
yes. We do testing. Yes, you can actually go on our website, go to Take Action tab, and once you follow the tab, it should be something saying testing, and you fill out the information, and they will give you a call back.
On the Sickle Cell Foundation website?
Yes, sicklecellga.org.
I'm going to put it in here. Sickle Cell. Whoops. Cellga.org site. And then Take Action
Yes,
tab.
should be the Take Action tab, and
We got that. And we got that right there.
yeah, it should be, yeah, it should be under the Take Action tab.
Under the
And
Take Action tab. So you guys can. This testing usually happens when we're born. Is that correct?
yes,
Aren't we
they have
all tested?
yes,
Do they still
newborn
do that?
screening. Yeah, they still do that when you have a baby. They they test you for sickle cell disease when you're a baby. So yeah, but you would be amazed how a lot of people don't even know their sickle cell disease, status, or their sickle cell trait status, or whether they are normal, because some people don't know their status because their parents have not told them, and
Because
that's how.
because we called that like a death sentence back in the day.
Mhm. Yes, it
And
does.
I'm only in my 50s. So I mean that's it's not that old, but just imagine, you know, when I was growing up, that was like, oh, it was taboo. We ain't talk about all that. Uh-uh.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I'm
it
saying?
still is taboo now. I mean, that's why you have a lot of people, having kids and, wondering, well, why my child got sickle cell disease? And, well, I didn't know I had sickle cell trait, or I didn't know this. And it's just about, that's why I say it's very important for us to really start talking with each other about, your status. Hey, do you know if you have trait? Do you know if you're normal? Like, I advise that everyone should get tested so you can know your status, know if you're normal, which is AA, know if you have the sickle cell trait, AS or AC. Is a lot of different traits and it's a lot of different diseases. So know your status, because if you don't know your status, I feel like, you can hurt yourself in the long run, because I mean, I say stay prepared.
Stay
And if you
prepared.
can stay prepared, you can get all the knowledge that you need to handle that situation, just in case if you do produce a child that has sickle cell disease or a child with sickle cell trait. So get tested.
Get tested. I thought we all knew our status from when we were from we were kids. You know what I'm saying?
Not necessary, because
I didn't know.
some people results get lost. Some people don't know their results because the parents haven't told them. So yeah, come to the foundation and you can get tested, and we'll be more willing to help you. That is something that we are big advocates of, testing.
Testing.
That get tested, yes.
Get
And
tested.
I think I saw Karen had a comment about her son
Her
just got
son.
tested. Yes, yeah. Anybody that's going to college that wants to play sports, they have to get tested to see if they have sickle cell disease. Just
Now,
like
is
when people,
this just black folks or is this other folks too?
no, it's not. And see, that's the thing. Sickle cell disease is not just among Black people. It
Oh,
is found in Caucasians. It is found in Pacific Islanders. It's found in Mediterranean people. It's all those different nationalities. So people that are playing sports, all the nationalities, they have to get tested if they're playing sports for college. It is a rule that came down from the NCAA. So they got to get tested.
okay.
So
And I thought it was always just a black thing.
oh no, no. A lot of people think it's only a
Maybe because
Black.
we have it more. Is it more? It's more prone in our community than other communities. Maybe that's why.
It's more prominent, but you can find it in Hispanics people too. So it's not just of us, and that's the misconception about it. It's in other races. So when we're mating with people that is not of the African descent, you need to be asking them too.
Yeah,
Hey,
you need to go get
what's
tested,
your
boo.
status? Do you know? And if they don't know, you guys can come down, get tested too. I mean, especially if you're
What does the test consist of? Is it a blood test or what kind of test
so
is it?
at the Sickle Cell Foundation,
You
Georgia.
know how we are.
They
What
can
test
do
is it now?
they can do a test through
Oh,
fingerprint, or
okay.
they can draw blood. Either one.
So it's an easy test, right? So
I
you,
mean,
those
it's
of you that are
easy to
scared of
me.
needles, you can get
For
that.
the
You can
ones
do
that
the
scared of
toothpaste.
needles, that would be like harder for them, because some people don't even like the fingerprint.
Lord,
So
look, y'all. We got to get tested, y'all. We got to get tested.
yes,
I mean, and just I'm past the baby making age. You know what I'm saying? But you know, my kids, they haven't. I only have one grandson, and I still got a bunch of kids that can still have some kids. And yeah, maybe they do need to get tested before you start getting out here breeding with everybody and things like that. And not everybody. I don't want them breeding with everybody, but before you get out here and start doing your thing, because this is information that you not not to not have a child, but just information that you need to know before you have the child. So,
yes,
just in case, you know how to, go about. She said they just drew blood from my son.
yeah, you can do.
You know how to go about, taking care of your kid just in case, this were to have happened. And it's not a death sentence. I think that's what we have a misconception about. We believe it's a death sentence because that's what we were taught when we were young. I mean, I know that's what I was taught. Like, you don't want
Yeah,
this, you know, the sickle
yeah,
cell. So these are things that that these are misconceptions that we have to be retaught.
yes, yes,
Re-educated, right? We have to be
yes.
re-educated, and that's why you're on here. And I just want to thank you so much. We are wrapping up our little hour, and I just want to thank you so much for giving me an hour of your time, educating my viewers, being my first guest, me listening to God and saying, you know what, okay, girl, you've been on your little hiatus. It's time for you to bring it on back and get back to the gift that I gave you, and that's to get out here and share share your voice and share your guest voice with the world, because healing is in the conversations, y'all. Healing is in the conversations. This is how we heal, when we talk about it and educate one another about it. And so I appreciate you being on, and I'm going to give you the final words. I'm going to give you the final words.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. It's actually allowed me to step out my comfort zone on another level. I wasn't always too keen with doing live shows or doing videos, but God has really used me this past year with other referrals for doing different podcasts, interviews, radios, and it just allows me to blossom on another level with something that I'm really passionate about it. But what I would really tell people to do your research. Don't always believe what people say about sickle cell trait or sickle cell disease. Do your research. Also, I would say if you're the type of person that's very observant, some of the signs of sickle cell disease, if you have yellowish or greenish of the eyes, that is jaundice. So if you're looking at your friends or looking at your family members and their eyes are different color, hey, you may want to say, hey, you may need to go get, checked out or get, tested. Someone is constantly having headaches. That's another sign. And just being aware and being kind to those that does have sickle cell. If you happen to know someone that has sickle cell, a family member or a friend, just be kind. Don't try to, be mean to them, because we're already dealing with a lot mentally, physically, and spiritually. Just love on them, check on them, and make sure that you have a good support system. I really have a good support system with my friends. I really, really do. They check up on me. They ask me if I ever need anything. Some of my family members, they check up on me because they know that I'm the strong one in the family and I rarely ask for help. And so allowing me to speak about sickle cell disease is allowing me to put my pride away and ask
Yes,
for help. So that's teaching me something. It's teaching me to be more, humble and more of asking.
absolutely.
So I say go in love, everyone. Be blessed and sleep well tonight.
Yes. So if you all want to reach out to Keecilon, here's her website where you can reach her, her email address where you can reach her, kwright at sicklecellga.org. So if you all have any questions that I didn't think to ask, or you just didn't want to jump in the chat or anything like that, but wanted to get a little more information, reach out to her, check her email. She's a busy lady, so don't be mad if she don't hit you right back like you text her. Just leave her an email and she definitely will hit you back. Um, Always, I do appreciate you all for watching. If you would like to be a guest on the show, I'm always looking for amazing people to share their amazing stories, because I do believe that healing is in the conversation. And I think the only way for us to heal is to get out here and talk and share and let people learn from each other. That is my goal. I didn't ask for this. I tell y'all this all the time. I did not ask for this. This is something I just wanted to be like Wendy Williams, y'all. I just wanted to be jump about people all day long. That's all I wanted to do, was be funny, like I am, just be funny. But God said, I got another plan for you. I want you to talk about mental health and mental wellness. And so that is what I do. So if you would like to be a guest and you would like to share your story and you think that someone can heal from you, please reach out to me. Y'all know all my social media handles: Mission for Mental Health. Mission for Mental Health. Mission for Mental Health. You can also email me at missionformentalhealth@gmail.com. So please reach out. I'm always looking for someone who would like to share. So I do appreciate you guys for giving me this hour of your time. We got a couple more comments left down here. We're going to throw those up right quick. Good night. An amazing show. I'm so glad y'all thought it was amazing. I feel
That's
good, y'all. I'm going to
good.
sleep good. I'm going to sleep good. I'm
Yeah,
going to sleep
I
good.
said we're gonna sleep good.
Yes. I'm gonna sleep good. So you
I
guys have
called
a,
it out.
yeah, right. And look, I ain't got to take no melatonin tonight, y'all. I'm gonna sleep good. So you guys have a good week, and I'll see you guys soon. Talk to you later.